We are sitting here with the owners of Kindergarten Inspirations, the curators of Cultuvue. First off, y'all look good.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
So we just want to learn a little bit about what inspired you all to start Cultuvue.
From a Google search. Google search back in November 2020, a client called in and they wanted to actually have us do a Black History campaign for them.
Okay.
And so it was no problem. You always say yes and then you figure out things later on. So we said yes, and then I went to get some inspiration as far as how and what direction we want to move with the campaign. So I went to my computer and I did a Google search, and the only thing that I typed, it was 2 words: blackmail. And to be honest, what came back was appalling. 95% of the images from the query came back either we were on drugs, selling drugs, or we were incarcerated. And so LaToya and I, we came together and we were like, listen, we have to do something. LaToya asked the question, well, what can we do? And I was like, listen, let's use what's in our hands. And what was in our hands were, a computer to design, also most importantly, camera to actually capture images. We wanted to capture images that reflected our community as a whole.
4 years later, here we are doing the very thing that we set out to do, which is to counter that negative narrative that Google showed us back in 2020.
I want to thank you all for answering the call. Most people would have focused on the problem, but you all created a solution. Now, we talked a lot about images. How important is this imagery for our community and the community that you all serve?
The key thing was when we did curators, was we can touch and talk to people in a group setting, a small setting, and not only just curated tours. We do curated tours of the school system with mentoring groups and things of that nature. And so when the kids come in, it's like a wow time check. When we begin to introduce them to the information in which we try to educate them as far as Black history, how the old helps formulate a foundation for today, and those individuals in which we display as a representative of today's uniqueness in our culture and our community. And the kids are just ecstatic. I mean, they really have fun. Afterwards, they can come up to me, hug me, give me just some type of assurance that what we're doing is actually seeping in. And so that, to me, it shows that what we're doing is actually making an impact.
It's a photography exhibition. We can only say so much in the stories that are displayed here, but the imagery alone floods you with information. It makes you want to stare at the eyes and figure out, what is this person thinking? You look at the way they're posed, the lighting, the composition, all these things are going through your mind, and this then becomes more of an immersive experience for the young and the old alike. And so, yeah, it's also worth 1,000 words, each image.
That's awesome. And for those who may have not seen it yet, there's beautiful images from not just athletics, education, to medical, to every aspect of our community. This is probably a hard question. Like, you have 2 wonderful kids. They both your favorite. But in the case of the exhibit, what would you say is your favorite exhibit here?
Wow, for me, as I would always do with any work that I'm doing outside of the exhibition, is whatever's the most current one, that's for me, because it allows us to hone our craft even better, to be able to have experience how to set up a particular gallery as such. And so the most current one is always that one that sticks out the most. But if you ask for individuals, wow, I love one where we had a local ballerina. Her name is Crystal Draper. Oh my goodness. For when she came in, I knew it was going to be an awesome type of photo shoot. I knew the images were going to be outstanding, and looking at the results, very resounding yes. And so a lot of individuals who come and view the exhibit agree with me as well. So that's one of my favorites.
I think for me, it goes back to the first exhibit. You don't know how the community is going to respond, but we were welcome. And we were welcomed with open arms. And it gave us a sense of knowing that, wait, we have something here. And it started the inaugural, photography exhibition. But it took just putting ourselves out there and just being vulnerable and saying, okay, here we go, community. we're presenting ourselves and what we're countering. And what do you think? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you want to see more of it? And again, we got that warmth from the community, and so that will always stick out as being my favorite. So as far as what individual, if we focused on this exhibit for 2024, I would have to say Roderick. Primarily because we learned so much about autism and it being, there's different spectrums and ranges of autism, but it was so beautiful to work with him.
You mentioned the youth, and I know for a fact your heart is for that. Can you talk about how the youth have responded to the exhibit?
Well, listen, the kids are just awesome, man. We want to be able to encourage, to inspire, to empower this next generation. And so we have to do that. There's some outside factors that are trying to take African-American studies away. No problem. This is upon the community now to step in to where we always wanted government to take over. And so bringing them in here, providing them a hub by which they have different windows in which they can look out into and say, hey, listen, I can aspire to become this. I can aspire to become that. And we want to be that particular place. And then when they come in, we want to educate them. They have a short attention span, so hit them with the education, hit them with a very inspiring word, then have fun with them. I think that will leave an indelible mark with them. It will leave them with something that they can remember this experience by. To be able to do that, to inspire this next generation is awesome. Privilege.
No, Cultuvue is meant to be experienced. If you allow yourself, you can get immersed in the stories and immersed in the collections that are here, and you can walk away and say, I've learned something. I've been inspired. I've been motivated. I'm influenced now. And some of these individuals are some that you actually know, or your parents know, or they're a representation of a teacher or a mentor you may know. And so that's other ways that we also go about trying to reach the youth.
I also want to take a step back and talk about the faith aspect, because like you said, trust the process. You take people on a faith journey when you give these instructions. A lot of people can't operate in that. How important is the faith process for you all, or your faith in general, for what you've created?
We don't do big fundraisers or anything like that, but we're always stretched of having this exhibit open every year. And as a man, thinking logically, you always want to know where everything is coming from. Well, there are times we don't know where it's coming from, but we have the faith to continue forward, knowing that this is a very vital thing for the community. So that has really helped encourage us, build and strengthen our faith. And we want to exude that on others as they come alongside, assist us, and then actually working with us. Listen, we ask you to walk by faith, but it's not something that we don't do ourselves every year. And so faith is a very integral part in what we do.
Well, I would say it's important to recognize those opportunities that you're given. I think we're all presented with opportunities that will stretch you and challenge you. Some will accept, the others will be like, I don't know about this. But he gave us that opportunity, and with it came provision. Now, do we always see what that provision looks like year to year? Not necessarily, but I can tell you we end every year where it's like, oh my goodness, we saw your hand here, we saw your hand at work there, you came through over here, you opened that door, you closed this one that needed to be closed. And so it's faith in God, and we're going based on what he has instructed us to do. And so it has to work. If it's coming from him, he's a God that never fails. So this has to work. It has to all somehow come together, work for the good of what we're doing, and for him to be glorified.
So thank you so much. As we move to this next section, you talked about how God and your faith has sustained you in this current process. But let's talk about the future. What does the future of Cultuvue look like? What is that vision that you want God to expand?
So it started with a 2-day event. We're all the way now. We're going to be, this year, 2024, we're going to be exhibiting for the whole entire year straight, and throughout 6 venues. But our passion is bigger. Our vision and our goal is bigger. We want to, again, expand to more locations outside of the Volusia Flagler region, but even beyond 2025. What we really want to do is we want to expand regionally, we want to expand nationally,
Okay.
and eventually internationally. We would love to take this to the islands, to where all our African people of descent, where they are located, and even over to Africa, just to bring this experience, man. And so those are big goals, lofty goals, but we're realizing as we continue to go forward, doors are opening for us, and we're just going to continue to walk through those doors.
Awesome. So I will say this with our final question. Some people may see you at first as just a photographer, but we all know you more. Both of you all are innovators, educators. I see future philanthropists, and you all are inspiring the youth as we speak. There's probably some young person who's going to watch this and want to create a similar space. What is that advice? What is those testimonies? What is that thing that you want to share with that person before they start off on a journey like this?
It's kind of like what I said earlier about we're all invited to take on a responsibility or an opportunity, and it's important that we do not shrink back from it. The talk should not always be what someone else should be doing, right? Sometimes the talk needs to be, what can I do? As I mentioned to James, I said, well, what can we do? And he said, we're going to use what's in our hands. And that is the advice I would lead to whoever may be watching this is look at your hands. What is in your hands? Is it a pencil? Is it a pen? Is it a book? It's some ability that you have, some natural God-given ability that you have that you're supposed to take, and it's supposed to be used for the benefit of others. It's not for hoarding. It's not for just saying, well, look at me, I'm boasting in my ability, my agility, it's not about that. It's about how this ability that I have been given, this talent, this gifting that I've been given is supposed to benefit and be advantageous to someone else. So don't miss out on those opportunities when they arise, and then see it as I have a responsibility. I think Cultuvue is now morphed into us understanding that it's no longer about, well, will the community accept this? It's more so we have now a responsibility to present this and continue presenting this and expanding it as we go along.
And I will say to that individual, listen, your gift is bait. All right. Our ability to create great images is just bait. It's to get people within those doors. Once we got people in those doors, now we have the ability to actually affect change. We want this to be more about pretty pictures. And so if it's a psalmist, be more about just a great voice or a record deal. If it is an author, it'd be more than just getting a book sale or anything like that. Once you are now notice that your gift has ability to at least draw a crowd, whether it be 1, 10, 100, thousands to millions, whatever your platform may be, let it be bait. And then what you actually interject, what you actually are able to deliver to someone, let it be a substance. Let it be positive, and let it be something that will inspire someone other than yourself. Let it be beneficial more than someone other than yourself. Because when you begin to operate on that level, that's when you begin to see things really begin to manifest, not only just for another individual, then in turn it begins to really reap benefits for yourself. Because it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. And so if we take that mindset, I think our community as a whole will be better.